up, so she couldn't make it
That
go
happens.
either. Yeah.
That happens.
Life happens,
It
right?
does.
Life
It
happens.
does.
Your best laid intentions or plans,
Oh,
and then
yes.
yes, you're sometimes a couple minutes late, or you
Uh-huh.
miss things altogether. And grace and forgiveness for those moments are probably what have gotten me through my adulthood so far.
Yes.
Whereas
Yes.
before it would be irritation, and that would bleed into something else that has no relevance to the thing I'm irritated about. Like, oh, wisdom and age.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I know. It just comes out of nowhere one day, and that's the magical age. It just all starts to click a little bit more. So we're gonna integrate the past couple of weeks so that we can put a bookend, if you will, to the experience, but not to the work. You can always continue the work from here on out on your own or with me, even if that's just sending me a message every now and then. I am always happy to chat with people, whether you sign up for anything else again.
Okay.
Yes. I'm always available by text or email or Facebook or Instagram or all the things. Find me and I will reply as timely as I can. So week one, we did some work around the hats that we wear and the place that we are in the world, and trying to accept and then also leave room for our own space to sit with our thoughts and ideas and to rest and reset all those big ideas. And then week two, we did some breathing work. So we're gonna toss that in today as well while we're practicing. Trying to remember that 360 and the fullness, and not necessarily breathing until we can get our heart rate up. It's more just the recognizing even of our breath.
Yeah.
And everything that's below the neck. You go all day and you're just like, like a little busy bee, and everything's up here, cerebral. And we forget there's a body underneath carrying us throughout our day, breathing all on its own, and we can optimize that for more success. Week three was a little bit of strength and stretch. Mm-hmm. And week four was about the stories that we tell ourselves. We packed a lot into 4 weeks, it feels like. Yeah, self-efficacy, trying to tell those stories in a different light, or changing the memo to ourselves, being more gentle, being more positive. So it's a lot to integrate into one little session together, but we're going to do our best. And so in the last 4 weeks, have you noticed any big or small shifts for yourself as you've been kind of absorbing some of the info?
Yeah, I've done a lot more stretching, and some of the movement stuff, which has been very helpful.
Good, yes. So moving is like your medicine. If you had to take a pill every day for your blood pressure or some other issue, it's, to me, almost the same thing. If you can move a little bit every day, you're feeding your body what it needs, just like you would feed your digestive system.
Yeah.
I need fruits and vegetables. Well, I need exercise. I need movement. So I'm glad to hear that you kind of planted that seed for yourself. I need to move a little bit more.
Yeah, when I wake up in the morning, I do stretching, and which is good because I didn't used to. I just hop out of bed.
Yeah. I linger a little bit, and then I get up out of bed too. I let myself come to the world before I walk into it, which is helpful. And you quilt, yes, project, those kinds of activities. So same idea. If you're sitting for a long period of time, get up, stretch, move.
Shoulder rolls.
Yeah. Because that when you get that like lean over and you just lose track of time. And so yeah, if everybody in the world could move like every hour of their day just a little bit, I feel like we would all maybe feel a little less achy. Oh, I'm so excited that you're moving more in your day. Any other cool things that have popped up or interesting things?
I've been a lot more aware of my breathing.
Good, yes.
So along with the movement, the stretching.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if anybody takes away one thing from any moment of time that I interact with them, I'm psyched. I'm happy. I mean, 4 weeks of content is a lot to digest and move forward with, and it'll pop up randomly here and there, and you're like, oh yeah, that thing, that one time. Yeah, so good. I guess if anything, that you're moving more makes me happy.
Yeah, it's good. I need it too, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. All ages and stages, honestly, no matter where you are, whatever you can move, just keep moving, and that part will stay moving, most likely. So. Okay, awesome. So I feel like you were such a positive ball of energy. You have such good like positivity and vibes. But I did want to talk about the storytelling that we share for ourselves in our own mind, like the little voice track that plays and plays and plays, and trying to remember that we can always reframe it. We can always shift our thoughts and ideas. So even when you get to that part of your day, you're like, oh, I don't want to move. I don't want to stretch. I'm already in this project. I'm already doing this. I'm already doing that. Shifting towards the why should I do this? Or I know it's good for me. Or when I'm done, I'm going to feel amazing. So those are little ways that you can keep invoking that movement habit. Takes anywhere between like 15 to 18, all the way up to like 3 months for some people, or 15 to 18 days, or up to like 3 months for people to establish a habit that they continue. Which is probably why it's so hard to get kids to brush their teeth, you know, because like, oh, I just forgot. You're like, well, it takes a long time to establish habits. So if you keep doing it every morning consistently, it'll just feel normal one day. Like if you didn't do it, it'll feel weird. Yeah, I think I forgot something. I forgot to stretch before I got up. Forgot to move a little. So yeah, so keep reframing those stories. Keep building those habits. Keep consistent with it. A little bit at a time. You never know, it might grow. You might wake up one morning and be like, I'd like to do a little bit more than just stretching in bed. I think I'd like to do more than that. But even 5 minutes at a time before you wake up is awesome. So, okay, so let's do a little bit of breathing, and then we'll move into some actual physical movement. So, and we'll play around with the breath too. So let's just settle into our bodies first. And you have the choice of closing your eyes or keeping them open. But start to let go, start to shed whatever is on your shoulders, what came before this. If you have a laundry list to do, put a pin in it, set it aside. Let it run in the background so that you can bring your fullest attention, your fullest awareness to the present. And start to notice the weight of your own body in your seat. How you press down towards the ground, how you lean into your chair back, the softness in your shoulders. If you feel any tension within, if there's a crease in your brow or your belly doesn't feel soft, perhaps you can feel another muscle group active. Aim to let go of all that gripping. Let the chair hold you up. Let your seat, your posture hold you up. And then notice your breath. Notice how the air seeps in through the nose, down the throat to fill the lungs in all directions. Envisioning that inner balloon reaching in all directions. And then every exhale is a reverse. It's a deflating. The lungs push the air back out into the world for exchange. As you take a couple of rounds of your inhales and exhales, trace that air as it seeps in and it gets pushed out. Find it in your mind's eye. And bring your palms to your upper chest, so more or less about where your collarbones are, or just below. And find any subtle or grand shifts in the rib cage there. And then directly on the other side of your palms on your back body, can you find a little lift of your shoulder blades, or sense the arm bones moving a little as that upper rib cage expands into the palms, towards the sides, and towards your chair back. And you'll cross your arms and you'll tuck them in almost like they're under your armpits. And you'll notice your side ribs. As if you're trying to push your ribs into your palms. If you're trying to elevate the palms away from you with each inhale. Trace those palms to your back body as well. A ring all the way around this upper bust line where you can sense a full expansion. And then let your palms come to your low ribs. You can either keep your arms crossed and lower them, or you can uncross and let your hands rest at your sides. One or the other position might work better. And this tends to be a little bit stickier of a spot for most folks, trying to find some reach here, those lowest ribs, that deepest part of our lung. Even if you have to trade for a moment, trade movement in the upper parts of your rib cage to allow for this lower part to expand a bit more. Take your breath there. Might even add a little pause once you fill up. And then take your exhale out. You can place your palms anywhere along your rib cage, a spot that maybe you felt was moving a little bit less than you'd like if you want to work on that area, or if you'd rather just settle the arms down into your lap or into your thighs or sides. And envision that ballooning lung. As it draws the air in, it has to push from the inside out against the ribs to expand. And it might take a little bit more of a effort or a deeper inhale, slower exhale to get into those little nooks that aren't moving. And then without forcefully moving your inhales and exhales, keep your eye on it, keep your mind's eye, keep your attention there, but let them go a little bit more naturally now. Perhaps even just a few minutes of focusing feels like it changed your breath a bit. And then choice to either keep the eyes closed or to blink them open. But we're going to add a little movement for the neck and the head. So it can be just little ear to shoulder bobs or chin up, chin down. Start to circle the shoulders a little as well. You can go in a direction together. You'll change your direction whenever you're ready. Just go the other way around. You may add a little shimmy twist. And then we're going to come back to our center. We're going to let our arms come to our sides. And then whenever you're ready for your next inhale, you'll reach your arms up. And when your exhale naturally comes, you'll let your arms draw down. So follow your pace. Let the breath guide you into the movement. And the next time that we lift our arms up, so we inhale, reach, exhale, we're gonna cactus the arms and give a little squeeze. So cactus or goalpost maybe, and then reach it up. And we'll just do that a couple more times. And you decide how much you squeeze into your shoulder blades. So you could really get a really juicy squeeze where you're kind of like, muscling into it, give it a good stretch to my back body. You can even imagine, this totally works, like you have a weight in your hands and in your palms. Yeah, even if it's 10 pounds or 5 pounds, triggers your muscles to think, okay, if I did have some weight, what would I have to do? What would I have to squeeze? And we'll just do like 1 or 2 more. A good little chest opener too. Okay, last reach up. And then this time exhale, the arms come down to the sides. And then you get to shimmy a little bit or turn around in circles. Just kind of let that go for a second. Yeah. And then you're coming into a little bit of a twist left and right. So no rhyme or reason how long you stay or how much momentum you put into it. You're just bringing a little twist into the spine. I like doing this in the seat because then you can really isolate the twist to the spine, keep the left and the right hips nice and square into your chair or your seat. And then the next time that you come to your side and your twist, see if you can just squeeze a little bit more into that twist, get a little bit more leverage into it with your muscles. And then use your free left hand at your knee, and an option to maybe leverage a little bit deeper into it, or to just add a little bit of pull. And head and neck can look where it feels comfortable. You'll release, you'll take it to your second side. So for a brief moment, you're gonna try to just squeeze into the twist a little bit deeper. Use those side, front, and back core muscles. And then you can place your right hand to your knee. You can twist a little bit deeper into it. We'll come back to our center and then just give a little wiggle twist for the spine. And then we get to come to stand. All right, we're gonna play a little with the legs. So just a little shift forward and back on heels and toes. And using any kind of like, yeah, chair support, leg, arm of, I was gonna say arm of the sofa, and I said leg. Arm of the sofa, counter, yep, wall, whatever works. Or just freestand and find the wiggles. All right, we're gonna bend into the knees a little bit, forward and kind of back. So stand and bend, like a little baby lunge kind of, or a little baby squat. Yeah. And then we're gonna twist into the hips. So I like to put my hands on my hips to kind of recognize the two little like bony point fronts that you got. And those guys are gonna kind of shift forward as if they were tapping an imaginary wall in front of you. Everything else above and below moves too because it's all connected. And then get a little hula hoop on. You'll switch your direction. You'll go the other way, hula hoop around. And then you'll come back to your center. And then we'll step back into a lunge. So it doesn't matter necessarily which side you go into. So your right leg is forward. And again, like if you're doing this at home, same, anything to hang on to, wall or anything else. And we're gonna do a little rock forward and back. And you can either keep your heels and feet square down, but I am not wearing shoes, so it's a little bit easier for me to kind of mobilize my feet. If you're wearing shoes, it can be a little bit more of a challenge, but I'm just getting some action for the ankles, for the toes, the arches. All right, we're gonna take a couple of squats. So if you need to take your length of your feet and bring it a little bit closer in. We don't have to take such a wide lunge when we're going into our squats. And then when you're ready, you'll take an inhale and you'll dip down a little bit. And an exhale to come up. And it doesn't matter how low you go, as long as you can sense that your legs are taking a little bit of weight. This is a little strengthening part. You can use just your body weight to make even the smallest changes happen. This is also the, I have to tie my shoe or pick up something from the ground. And we'll just do a couple more. And then one more, and we'll come back up. We'll come back to our center. We'll shake that leg off. And then we can try our second side, see how that goes. If it's different, if it's the same, if it's no better, no worse words. We're just kind of measuring, right? So taking your little shifts forward and back, getting a little sway in. Kind of reminds me of being like in the ocean. You have that little bobbing feeling, or in a calm lake. There's still sort of that little wake that sways you ever gently. And then when you're ready to take a couple of dips and find a good enough stance that feels stable. And then on your inhale, you bend down and exhale up. And as long as you're adding some weight to the legs when you come down, it doesn't really matter how low you go. When you get really good at this, you can like hold heavy things like a baby. Just kidding. Perhaps we'll start with like a flour sack. Then we'll move up to baby status. All right, one more, and then we'll come to stand. So bring it up, come out of your lunge. You get to like shake it off, let it go. Even just a little bit of lunging every day, it's like, whew, oh yeah, my legs, feeling it. But that's going up and down stairs, right? It's kind of a similar motion and movement. We need that flexibility in our ankles. We need that strength in our legs to get up and down, or just out of chairs or rockers. You get to that point where you're like, Evo, out of the rocker, and you're like, okay, all right, I need to do a little bit. Yes, need to do a little bit more business here. All right, let's tune back in with our breath for a moment. So on your inhale, you'll reach up. However high you want to go. Yeah, feel those side ribs expand. And then on your exhale, bring it down. Sometimes doing these on a wall, like bringing your back to the wall and tracing your arms, gives you a little bit of feedback of where your arms are in space. Because sometimes I lift one arm faster than the other or slower than the other, and you're just noticing things like, oh, that's interesting. Nice. All right. Go ahead and take your left arm, draw it across your body, and then you kind of lasso it with the other one. And you're going to pull with your lasso arm, and you're going to push with your long arm. So it's like a little bit of a battle between the two of them. They're pushing, pulling against each other. And then that maybe will give you a little bit more stretch on the back side of your body versus just kind of like hanging out. Kind of do a little struggle, little battle between the two. It's a little bit more active. And then you can kind of ramp it up a little bit too. Like I'm pushing, pulling a little bit, but maybe I want to push and pull a little bit more. And then when you're ready, you can soften, let it go. Give a little shimmy to that shoulder. And then you get to switch. So the other arm comes across, you get to lasso that, and then find that same little, like I'm pulling it in, but I'm pushing it out. Like your arm is pushing against a wall, but your biceps fighting yourself. And then we can release, let go, give a little sway, a little soften. And then let's add a little bit of mobility to the shoulders. So there's a good chunk of wall right there. I think I'm off camera if I'm here. Yep. Okay. Let me shift this guy a little so I can see my wall. All right. Okay. So when you come to your wall, you're going to put your palms up, kind of like you're in a push-up position, more or less. So your palms are kind of not directly under your shoulders, but maybe a little bit higher. Gives you a little bit more flexibility for the shoulders. And then with your shoulder blades, so, you know, these two guys that hold it all together for you, you're going to squeeze them in towards your spine, and then you're going to pull them apart and away from each other, kind of like they're sliding doors. And you're closing the sliding doors, and then you're opening the sliding doors. Just a little love mobility for the shoulders. And then one more. We'll come to stillness, and we're going to work into a wall push-up. So can bend to the elbows, dip towards the wall, and then push away. This is a great way to start if push-ups are your mortal enemy. And then you can build from there. So to add, you know, now or in the future, if you want to add more strength, you can always walk your feet a little bit further away from the wall or closer to the wall. That will add how much weight goes forward. You can even change the direction of where your elbows are pointed when you bend. So if they're going down or if they're going straight out to the sides, it's going to work different muscles to do that. And maybe you just start with 5 one day. You know, after you get up out of bed in the morning, you just go to your wall and you do a little bit of shoulder work, and then you do some push-ups. And by winter, we're going to have you doing them on the floor and plank. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's not your goal. Yeah. All right, drop your arms down. Let that go for a moment. Kind of give it a little shake and shimmy. And then another really fantastic one is to reach up a little bit higher and drop the shoulders and head in line so your ears are kind of by your bicep. And similar to the arms of a down dog. So some people, if they prefer to do this on the ground and they're in this position, you can be on your hands and knees. You don't have to be long-legged and up. But it just gives you a little bit of room to play with the extra shoulder stretch. You can use your body to leverage into it a little bit more. And then bit by bit, if you do this day by day, you might find a little bit more ability in your reach upward towards the sky, towards the top shelf. And then we can bring ourselves back to center. We can let that go as well. Give a little shake and shimmy. Ability will show up in the most interesting ways, like you reach up for something, or you go to like pour something out, and instead of like, then it's all of a sudden it's, oh, this stuff, yeah. So I know I injured my shoulder one time, and so I got into the habit of this, and I stopped doing that. And even when my shoulder was fine, I was still doing this. And you know, it's funny how you get your body's like, oh, this is what we're doing now. Okay, it's fine. We're gonna do that from now on. Yes, happens so quickly. All right, so a little sampling of how you can take all those movement elements and play with them. You can always add some leg work, you can always add some arm work, and whether you're standing, seated at the wall, you can progress how you want to add those in, dabble them out. And then when you take your rests in between, just come back to your breath. Find those inhales, find those exhales. Notice how the work kind of changes the cadence, and come back to your center, take your break, and then dive back in. Do some more mobility work or strength work. Just adds resiliency, because if you can move better throughout your day, then you're not, you know, kicking yourself because this is more challenging or that is more challenging, or, you know, it's just, it compiles into feeling better about yourself all day long. So yeah, I love it. Any questions, thoughts about some of the stuff that we did? Yes, yes. It's easy to go your entire day without lifting an arm over your head. Everything is so accessible. Our world is in front of us and it's eye level and it's here. And so if we stop lifting our arms overhead, or if we have injuries or surgical procedures, it can be so easy to lose that mobility. And I mean, you're a tall person, but for me, I'm like, I need every inch I can get to reach up. The stool in the kitchen is only gonna, take me so far before I need to get the rest from my body. Yes. Okay, so come to your seat again. So we added the element of the breath, we added the element of the stretch and the mobility, and then strength doesn't always even have to be adding the weight. You just squeezing a little bit more into your own muscles, that's time under tension. And that will help build more mobility and more strength, more control too, more body control. If your body, if your what am I trying to say? If your muscles are on to support the movement, then the movement's going to be easier, more fluid. So yes, I love body mechanics. If you ever have any questions about body mechanics, it's like, I could have gotten a degree in it probably, or kinesiology, something like that. So it's fun. Okay, so moving forward, do you envision some goals for yourself? Maybe it's around the movement part or something else.
Yeah, mine's mostly the movement.
Good, okay. Yeah. What kind of changes do you want to see in your body?
I want to strengthen my upper body, my shoulders, neck, and
Uh-huh.
I've done a lot of that. I haven't done a lot of that with all these surgeries.
Sure. Yes. Okay. So when you're laying in bed in the morning and you're doing your stretching, you're doing your bits, you can add some strength for your neck simply by lying still with the rest of your body and then lifting your chin towards the ceiling.
Okay.
That might be just a nice little way to start, kind of mobilizing the neck a little bit, lifting it up towards the ceiling. If it's accessible to roll onto your belly in bed and then do the opposite. Try to take like the back of your head, lift that towards the ceiling. And that will give you a little bit of strength there too, especially that part of it, because we already spend a lot of time doing this. Yeah. So what happens over time is this can get a little bit short and then this can get a little bit long. So especially doing that, lifting the head towards the sky. And if you end up doing some wall work, so you're doing push-ups at the wall or stretching at the wall, you can come to the wall. Let's see, I need a flat spot. And then push into the wall with the back of your head.
Okay.
So you're kind of using the resistance of the wall to push in, and then you can do that with your hands too. So you can even try this in your seat. You can lace up your palms and then push your palms into your head. Push your head into your palms, like your palm is the wall.
Yeah.
And then you can release.
More like isometric.
Yes. Yeah. So squeezing and a holding, and then you can kind of let it go. And if you can hold long enough to build the tension too, so as you first start to push your head into your hands, it's like a 10% little push, and then it's a 20 and a 30, and you kind of ramp it up over 10, 20, 30 seconds, however long you can get it there, and then work your way out of it. So build your own tension into it. Yep, that will be, there's a thing called pails and rails, which is a little bit different than just like, I'm pushing in, I'm letting go, I'm pushing in, I'm letting go, I'm leveraging in, I'm letting go. So you kind of get like a little ramping up of how much you push into it, and then release. And then make sure you stretch a little too. Try to get as much mobility back as you anatomically can. I know there's always some limitations when you've had fusing of things and whatever else. Yeah. So, and then all that wall work we did would be really great for shoulder work too. Something as simple as I needed to pick something up and then maybe just give it a couple of reps before you set it back down. Yeah, I mean, it's really sneaky how you can add strength into your life. And what ends up usually happening is whatever mobility you have in your shoulder joints, in your neck joints, adding strength to it is going to allow you to keep and control those movements. So if you're adding strength along your end range, then when you reach for something and it's heavier than you thought, you're going to be able to hold on and, pick it up, push it around, whatever your goal is in moving the object. So it can have really huge ripple effects in your life if you just dabble a little bit in strength and dabble a little bit in mobility. So I'm glad you're looking at it though and kind of deciding that's what you want to do with it. A little bit at a time. Yeah.
If I'm not careful, I go one step forward, 2 steps back. So I do have to take it slow.
Yes. And then in any good strength or mobility program, you progressively get towards that goal. So you kind of like go up against that wall a little bit and go, oh, okay, hello, hi, and then you pull yourself back just before you go over the hill, before you go the 2 steps back. Kind of like reel yourself in for a moment. But yeah, a couple of those tricks. Do you still have PT time, or you do some of the physical therapy things that you were taught?
I do.
Yeah. Good, excellent. Yeah.
I do some band work.
Oh, nice, good. Like the stretchy bands. Good. Yes.
Stretchy bands and stretchy loops.
Yeah, attach those to something and then like a door, like tie it to a door and do all kinds of stuff there. And that would be amazing for your shoulders. Yeah, that's so cool that you use bands. I wish I would have known that. I would have brought my bands. We could have played.
The bands are really nice.
Yeah. And then don't forget to reward yourself. So part of building those habits and introducing them and sticking with them is rewarding yourself, whether it's like your own personal inner high five or it's, well, now that I've done my stretches, I get, insert whatever feels like a reward to you. Because that's how your brain is going to love it and enjoy it and not be like, God, this again. Why every day? And you built your habit around something so beautiful, like I've just woken up for my day. This is lovely. It's a lot easier to stick to habits when you tag it to something like that. That's awesome. I can't wait to follow up with you and see where you are like a month from now or in a couple of months, or you're just like, oh yeah, I can do 10 push-ups. Goals. We're gonna, goals. You just have an idea for your goals and one little bite at a time. And then, yes, exactly. And then life is gonna just keep ticking along. And if you keep some mobility, some strength, some movement, that'll be all good. Okay, so anything else that I can offer or help before we close off today?
No, this has been really good. I've enjoyed it.
Good. Excellent. Yeah. What were some of your favorite parts?
I think more just the awareness. The awareness of breathing, the awareness of the stretching, of the movement.
Yeah.
Just awareness.
Sometimes our body creeps into positions or patterns so incrementally that we don't see it until we're forced to move a certain way. And then you're like, whoa, how did I lose all that extra ability in my hip or in my spine? Or it can happen abruptly, like with surgeries or injuries, those kinds of things too. But once you see those patterns and you start to notice them all the time, like I always turn to my right. I always turn to my right. That's why I have so much more range, because I'm constantly using it, which is why I have less range going to my left, because I never use the left. So all these little pattern builders, you start to notice them and you go, what if I know I've already reached to my right. What if I just turn to my left to grab that thing? And then over time, we can build better movement patterns. So
get a little out of your comfort zone.
Oh, totally. Like reach for the door handle with your left instead of your right. Just doing things with the opposite side, and or looking above or below your body if something is troubling you one day or another. Yes, I could ramble on about this stuff. Okay, so we're gonna close up our practice with a little meditation and mindfulness and let it sink in. So come to that soft seat. If you've got any ruffled feathers, smooth them out. Start to hear that inner swoosh of the air as it comes within the body, as it slowly releases out. With each exhale, allow a little bit of gripping, holding, tension seep out from within. Notice if your brow has a crease, if you can drape the cheeks and the jaw. The shoulders can sink towards the floor. The belly is slack, taking its own beautiful form. Your legs are heavy. The hips are soft. And come back to that idea of a mantra. You're saying your path direction you'd like to take. Maybe it's just the path for today. Maybe it's big picture pathways. Even if it's a vague sentiment like, yes, you can. What action can you pair with it? What action can you allow to run like a reel in your mind as you're saying to yourself, I can, I can, I can, I will, I will, I will. And each inhale brings you more courage. And every exhale releases doubt. You're able, you're ready, you're willing to dedicate yourself to that goal, that mission. And then see yourself on the other side of it. After months of work, weeks and weeks of habit, how fluid and efficient that task now is. So well oiled that it feels like it was always there. It's a part of you just as much as your breath. It's still not perfect. There's still little hiccups or setbacks. There's moments of disbelief. We already know that we're able to recognize that, to see the falseness, to reverse. And when we replay that story, it's recast. And we can move forward to the next step and the next one. And sit for just a few extra moments with some quiet, to either let our mind be barren or to sit with our mantra a little longer. As gentle as possible. Start to let your awareness be nudged out from within. Recognize your amazing shell of a body that holds your spirit, holds your will, your courage, all these things that make us us, that make you you. You might start to find your first little movements. As you tuck away that special little place that you drifted off to. It's always there within. Deeper breaths. And when you're satisfied, slowly blink the eyes open. You'll greet the world once more. Perhaps it seems a little shinier, a little warmer, even if this is in your mind. It's a little chilly today outside. And then congratulate yourself for your own dedication. Good. I hope that you can take some good nuggets with you.
I think so.
I will delightfully follow up with you
Okay, sounds good.
and make sure that you're still doing your stretches and you're still making some magic happen.